Structs is just a way to store the data. In other programming languages, if you have ever interacted with a struct or something like a data type, it's like, can I explain to it? When you see a car always has a seat, engine, the wheels, the boot and the bonnet, and the maybe what oil, for example, or electricity if it uses electricity. So struct is something that globally defines the requirements of every single car so that the consumers can choose what they want, for example. So using structs to structure related data. A struct is a short form of a structure. I've never known about this. A struct or a structure is a custom data type that lets you package together and name multiple related values that, okay. So in short, it's just a structure. If you're familiar with an object-oriented language, for example, like C, if you ever programmed using C, you can understand. Even Rust is a system programming language, meaning that it's a object, and I think it's neither. It's an object nor an object. It's a system programming language. So this is how we define and instantiate struct. Struct is also called structure. So structs are similar to tuples discussed in the tuple type. I think we've not covered tuples. In that both hold multiple related values. Like tuples, the piece of a struct is different. Unlike with tuples, in a struct you'll name each piece of data so it's clear what the value means. Adding these names means that structs are more flexible than tuples. You don't have to rely on the order of the data space for access the values, for instance. To define a struct, we enter the keyword struct. So it's like you say structure, the name of the structure, and then the brackets, and then what it contains, active. So this is get username, email, and sign in. Getting interesting. After I don't need this code because we're in day 7, we're talking about structs. And here I'm going to need a file for structures. So I'll call it structures.rs. Inside the structures file, we have to create a function to define structs. So is it possible to store structs in a different file? For example, in Angular, you can create and in Angular or TypeScript, a struct is similar to interface. You create it in separate folder. But this one, we're going to say we want a struct to take the username. So we can create a function, we call it take username. And this function, we want to take the username of a person. So we want to take username let's say we return a string, and here we say names of type string, which we say return just the name. Okay, this function just takes the username, and we create another function that takes the email address. Record user. We're going to create a function called record user, and this function takes the first name, which is a string, the name, which is a string also, into also age, which is a U32. We take first name, last name, age, gender, which is a string. What else is needed in school? Any medical conditions, which is a boolean data type. Sorry, I think this one is enough. Then here you want to record the user. You want to store it in a single variable called let user is equals to. Okay, I'm going to comment it first, but first let's create a struct. So you say struct, short form for structure, user will have the following data. So here you initialize let student, which is of data type. Let student will be user, and then we store all the things here. There are two ways of storing the things here. You can say use is equals to fname. You can initialize explicitly by saying fname. Then lname, you can do that like that. Yeah, like that. Then if you print line user is going to print everything, and we have to register this. But before register, I'm going to allow unused variables. The same case with struct. I think that's good. That's important. And here we're going to call day 7 in a function called in structures. Passing through, and these structures. So let's go to mod. We have to initialize it public module structures. Then we save it. The error has to go. Can't find structures. Why? But initialize it. Let's just call module structures. I think it's private, so I did it correctly. Is that I couldn't find the error quite easily. But in our server, there's cargo watch. We execute and then we run. So it's a user John Doe is 30 years old. So all the data that we've passed here, they have been registered by the struct. So a struct is just a short form of structure, and we are using it to explicitly define the type of data value and what is expected.